and welcome everyone for this new exciting program of the University of the Underground. We welcome you all into this music incubator program that is going to take 8 incredible, international, super talented humans together for the next 2 months to actually produce a piece of work, a piece of musical work between now and the 15th of December 2022. And so we really excited to welcome you all to join us in these really practical classes at the University of the Underground that are going to teach you how to write music, produce music, think about your peers, think about, you know, how best to actually release a piece of work that you've done that can be musically oriented. So this is what we are all about for the time being, for the next 2 months. And with that in mind, I just want to say a few words about the University of the Underground. We are a charity. We are, you know, based in the basement of nightclub, and we've been going on since 2017. We are free, we are pluralistic, and we are transnational. So we exist beyond borders. And we've been going around pretty much, you know, we've been in Cairo, we've been in Georgia, we've been going around for quite a while. And really, we are there to look at how event can be used to modify power structures in various institutions. So we are absolutely thrilled to host this music incubator program in collaboration with a free nationwide festival Tour de Moon. And with that in mind, I'm going to introduce our speaker now, who is called Emily Rudge. So Emily is a creative executive producer with over 15 years of experience in seeing film and art projects from conception to completion. You've been working on many different disciplines, from film to commercial promotion to artist moving images to theater and live events. So thank you again for joining us in sharing your knowledge with all of us. You also have been working on larger scale commercial production, but also to, you know, large, you know, like also crowdfunded campaigns. So you can speak about that as well. And you've also worked with many different companies, including BBC, Wieden Kennedy, Arts Council England, National Geographic, basically a whole roster of incredible different institutions, some better than others, which I'm sure you're going to share a few about that, like what you learn along the way through these 15 years. And you're going to share with us, a talk now, which is going to be about the music in picture and the art of the music video. And I'm going to stop here and say to everyone as well that we are a charity and we are a non-profit. So if you want to donate to the University of the Underground, that is always very much welcome. So you can do that on our website, www.universityoftheunderground.org, where you can find basically the donation scheme. So please, if you want this to keep on going, then please support us. So with that in mind, let's over to you, Emily. And thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to all of the students here and everyone there that just joined to hear about your talk. We always will, you know, we're always really happy to see you all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks. It's wonderful to be here. Really appreciate you inviting me. It's really lovely to meet everybody. I feel I was going to start off with saying a little bit about my past and how I've sort of got to where I am, but actually just read out a little bit of my biography. Probably sounds more impressive than it actually is. But yeah, I've worked on quite a lot of music videos, and so I thought it's really difficult, I think, when we were talking about music videos, and Tom and I were talking at the beginning on the vast array of different kind of topics that you could pick to dissect or talk about them, because, you know, it really is an art and it comes in many forms. So what I've sort of decided to talk about, as well as what I'll do afterwards, because I currently, like you said, I'm currently run a production company in London, and we mainly do commercials, but we're also relaunching in about a month with a live action roster of directors. So we'll be looking to do lots more music videos. So I have been really busy. I wanted to do a really cool visual feast for you while I was talking, but what I'm going to do is talk about some music videos with you, and then put the links of the videos in the chat, so then we can all go on mute and play a couple of minutes. And also totally happy for anyone to jump in with any questions or if they completely hate the videos or they like them, like really open to sort of collaboration and chat throughout the talk. So yeah, I started work. I think mainly my main kind of part of working in the industry was at a film company called Iconoclast, and they are, I don't know if you've heard of a director called Roman Gavras, but he kind of started it with 3 partners in Paris, and you know their main idea was really all centered around the music video, and that's how they've kind of got to where they are now. And they basically centered all of their commercial gain on the kind of the culture of the music video, really. And even working in advertising at the moment, which I do, you know, everybody really puts a lot of importance on obviously the creative, because that's at the heart of everything we do. So yeah, I thought I would split the talk into 2 parts. So first of all, I thought what was interesting is when you get the really good collaborations between directors and musicians. So I think most of you are musicians, and so you've probably already maybe made some videos yourselves, and there's a ton of ways that you can do that. But I think what's interesting, an interesting kind of take on it, is when you see directors form a special relationship with the artist. So either that be, you know, through kind of personal connections and them having a really great relationship, or by chance that they meet through their label or manager or something, and then do a couple of videos and have a really great time, and then form that kind of trust and relationship as it goes on. So I mean, so there's been some great ones over the years, and actually once you start researching, like, too many to even mention. So this is why I'll follow up with loads of the links after the call, so you can have everything kind of in one document for you. But the first one I wanted to note was, I don't know if you've heard of, well, you probably have, Chris Cunningham. He was a really famous director, and he was at Warp Films and did 2 videos with Aphex Twin. So they're like 2 classic kind of videos, which is sort of on more of a kind of experimental side of it. I don't think we want to watch all of the videos, but the one that he did in 1997, so it's quite a long time ago now, Come to Daddy, I've just put in the chat. If you could watch, it's not a huge, the quality isn't that great in terms of it going from 1997, but maybe if you guys watch the first kind of minute of that video, and then we can come back. Should have timed it. Is that a minute? I'm not sure.
Go for it.
Like, okay, great. Yeah, I mean, I think it's you know, really crazy and experimental. I think it's interesting, kind of in the 90s, there was this whole kind of birth of experimentation, but maybe when you've sort of been looking at music videos now, you see that actually, a bit like everything else, it's sort of, there's some kind of iteration or a copy of what was previously done. So yeah, they actually met in a pub, which according to another friend who works at Warp, apparently a lot of their collaborations between musicians and the directors that do their videos often chance with a kind of meeting a person down the pub. So yeah, I'll put his other videos in, so you can look at them later. Another one, I mentioned the director before at the production company that I used to work at called Iconoclast, called Roman Gavras. And I guess another way that you can have a collaboration, he had a collaboration with MIA. They did actually go out for a few years as well, so I think that was handy. But they collaborated on 2 videos, one of them in 2010 called Born Free, won a lot of music video awards, and he did 2, Born Free and Bad Girls, and Bad Girls was more of a sort of performance video with her in, but Born Free, here I put into the chat there, yeah, as I said, it won a lot of awards, and interestingly, they went a bit rogue when they made it. I think it's shot in California, and it's a 9-minute short film, so we won't have time to watch all of it. But it basically, there's several instances that relate to the killing of Tamil males in the Sri Lankan army, because MIA is Sri Lankan, and they sort of juxtapose that by taking away a lot of red-haired people into a bus. So it had a lot of controversy basically, and they actually released it without the label even knowing, and the label apparently went mad, but then after it had started winning lots of awards, then they sort of decided to back down. So if you want to watch that, maybe we obviously don't have time for the whole 9 minutes, so maybe 2 minutes. You might want to skip in because there's a bit of an intro, so maybe start from a couple of minutes in. I'll go on mute. It's a minute and a half, maybe come back. It's quite extreme. Like a lot of his films. So he's actually got a film out at the moment in the cinema called Athena. So a lot of his films are quite intense and of a violent nature. Sorry, that should have probably had a warning before I put that into the chat for you. But yeah, like I said, it's all interesting that he kind of went away and shot it, obviously with MIA's approval and probably funding from the production company rather than the label. And then yeah, the label weren't very happy when they saw it, but obviously happy when they get the results, which I think is an often common thing, that the labels that often give artists money for videos want to control everything and potentially think that, you know, they know better than the artists or the directors themselves. And then when you actually get, you know, maybe a video that does well, which they didn't think to be the case, then they kind of eat their words. So the next one I wanted to mention was Hero Murai and Childish Gambino. Hero Murai, I think, is one of my sort of personal favorites. He's sickeningly talented. He's directed and produced the whole of the Atlanta series, as well as collaborating with loads of artists on amazing music videos. And he has worked with Childish Gambino on about 5. And I think that's a really good example of kind of building up the relationship between the director and the musician. So first there's one Sweatpants, which I quite like, from 2014. I'll put in the chat, maybe just watch a couple of minutes, but yeah, you have to go back and watch the most of it another time. It's got quite a good gimmick to it. So if you watch that, and then we'll watch the most recent one that they've done. Maybe a minute on this one. Okay. Seems bad to stop because you're probably just getting into it when then you have to, I'm telling you to come back. But like I said, I will put all of the links in the chat. So the next one, which is my favorite, is their most recent collaboration, which was in 2018. I'm sure you've all seen it. So although I'd love to watch the whole one, maybe we can do it at a later date. But yeah, This Is America, which was in 2018, which yeah, I just think is incredibly powerful. And you know, they'd obviously built up that relationship, and you know, they'd really collaborated on the idea together. And so yeah, maybe I will go on mute. We can watch this for two minutes. maybe we should come back. I think, yeah, I mean, that's one of, yeah, it's super powerful. They're one of my, yeah, favorite kind of collaborators. I think that later on when we go in, I wanted to talk about lower budget music videos and kind of what makes a good video, right? And I think that's a really good example of his performance. I think that if you get, obviously a great track is essential, but if you have a great performance by either a cast member that you cast, or if the artist is in the actual video itself, then I think that kind of goes a hell of a long way. So, I mean, there's tons of other collaborators that I could think of, and I'll put these into the document that I share. Like ASAP Rocky, for instance, has collaborated more than 3 times with a more emerging director called Dexter Navy. And within those videos, there's the same kind of camera technique that you can see used, and so you can really tell that Dexter has kind of crafted his own style within those videos as well. And then older, the sort of Fatboy Slim and Spike Jonze. Spike Jonze, you know, incredible director, and prolific, directed a lot of music videos for different artists. But Fatboy Slim is interesting because I think the next part of the talk, I wanted to talk about the sort of low budget music videos, or what we think of a low budget music video. And he's obviously done his sort of famous one, which I don't know if you've all seen, called Weapon of Choice from 2001 with Christopher Walken. You can, maybe we'll watch just a minute of that if you maybe fast forward about 30 seconds, I think, and then start from that. So this was their most recent collaboration in 2001, which is still quite old. If I go on mute, then maybe we'll watch that for a minute. Okay, maybe we can come back. I don't know if I didn't mean to say that was a low budget one, by the way. That was kind of a talking about the next video. So yeah, that one is amazing, and I'm sure it had a very big budget. So the previous one that they collaborated on was Praise You in 1998, which had quite an interesting story. Basically, I think by that time he was probably quite famous, so he did have a lot of money behind his videos that the label would give him, and they did get a lot of money for the video, but they couldn't decide on when they were filming what they actually liked, and basically they went a bit rogue. And so Spike Jonze got a dance group together, which is a sort of a fictional interpretive dance group of elderly people called the Torrance Community Dance Group. And basically they've shot over one night dancing in front of an LA cinema. And basically, I think they got drunk while they did it as well, which is probably definitely not allowed now, or not to be advertised. But yeah, then it basically, the label were really angry with what they'd done, and so they gave all of their money back because it was basically shot on next to nothing. But it then was one of the kind of highest rating videos, and really awarded. So I've just put that into the chat. Maybe we could watch a few minutes. And sorry, when I keep putting the YouTube things in, you've probably got to see some ads as well before you start the video. So yeah, watch a couple of minutes of this Praise You, Fatboy Slim. I think that's good. It's about a minute and a half. Yeah, so I mean, I think it's a good example of you can sort of make a video with any concept. But coming from a filmmaking background, though, I'm sure, I don't know how they got around, either because you can't really see the people in the background, or they'd have to get release forms for every single person in the background. I'd be too scared to do that. You'd have to, you get people complaining that they're in a award-winning video without being paid. So yeah, Fatboy Slim, they're a great one. I mean, there's so many others, which I will put down, like Michel Gondry. He's done amazing music video collaborations with Bjork and White Stripes, and there's tons more. But I think going into more lower budget music videos, it's really interesting. I think over the years that I was talking to a commissioner friend of mine, and actually most of the videos that she commissions are only between about £3,000 and £12,000, because that is the sort of majority of the budgets you have, unless you're signed by a bigger label and then you're obviously bringing in revenue for them, then you get the bigger budgets, like say for instance Dua Lipa. I know her videos are about 250,000 plus, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, I think everyone has to be resourceful about how you make a music video, and it does take a lot of effort, especially if your scale of the ambition is larger. But there are definitely ways around doing it, and I think if you do get a collaboration or a relationship, for instance, with a director who loves your work, then they might be signed by a production company like one that I run. Therefore, we can pull the favors with all of the crew, all of the kit companies, so you can shoot at the weekend and get all of your kit and everything for nothing, and then get a favor for editing. So yeah, I think there's lots of interesting ones. I think I was asking the question to some people recently, and they brought up the fact that James Corden and Harry Styles made a video for £300 recently, which sort of annoyed me, because I can't really, it's a sort of not really my taste. But I'll put in the chat, there's like a longer 17-minute film about how they made it for £300. And obviously if you're James Corden or Harry Styles, you can get lots of things for free. So it's more about kind of celebrities pulling in favors. But I think yeah, there's lots of kind of trickery that you can do, and I think that, me personally, ingredients for a good video is a good kind of main performance or cast, a simple, effective idea, and and a really good track. But the budgets are getting less, because I think we're coming out of, well, I mean, we're really out of the MTV generation where every artist just had one video, whereas now I think with the with social media, there's so much content, and as an artist, then you really think about your kind of visual identity and how that goes across marketing wise into lots of different platforms. It's not just, say, about one video in particular. There was one video I was going to show you, I think, different sort of techniques that you can take. There's one more kind of a documentary type style. There's a recent director at a company called Some Such, and he did a video for Hat Baker called Dopehead, and they shot that over the space of a year, and it only cost £500. I'll put that into the chat now. It's pretty dark, so probably let's only watch the first kind of 30 seconds to a minute, but they were documenting basically the lives of Londoners gripped by drug addiction. And yeah, the people in the film are all real life, real life people, not actors. So that's one way. If you maybe watch that for, we're running out of time, so maybe 30 seconds. Okay. And then another interesting story is, probably all remember the track Hosier. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Hosier, Take Me to Church. So this video here, I'll put into the chat. Basically, apparently Andrew, the lead singer, had released the song on Bandcamp for free, and as soon as it then started taking off, which he didn't realize, he then decided to quickly make a video to go with it. And they weren't famous at all at the time, and so the whole video cost about €1,500, and then now has had over 1 billion views. And I think it's interesting because they probably didn't, they didn't have any money, but he got a local acting group to be the cast within the video, and this is a really good example. So definitely watch it later in full, of kind of how you can be resourceful and think about kind of actual storytelling within the video, because they have a whole narrative basically in this video, and it does seem like a bigger budget than that completely. Obviously his determination to get something out there, and it kind of paid off. Put a little bit about it in the chat. We'll probably, yeah, maybe watch that one later because we're running out of time. I did want to, because it's one of my personal favorites, and I'm not biased because the directors are also at Iconoclast where I used to work, but there's a, you've probably heard of them, duo called The Blaze. They're cousins, and they have collaborated and directed a lot of their music videos themselves. One of my personal favorites is called Territory, and I'll put that into the documents when we follow up, but that's not necessarily low budget. But their first music video basically was called Virile, and yeah, this was less than £500 basically, and it's just all shot in one location in a flat. So maybe if we have time, there's lots more that I wanted to show you. Maybe, I guess we can't watch the whole thing, maybe 3 minutes or something like that. Probably I'm like interrupting at the really good times when I do think you do need to watch it all the way through, because that's the whole point, rather than interrupting it. But I think what's great about this is basically the cast and the acting, right? The authenticity of the characters that they find is incredible. And that's the same that goes to their other videos as well when you watch them after. Yeah, that I feel like that's sort of massively key. Maybe I'll talk over at the same time you guys can kind of open up these other links. Like Young Fathers did one recently called Shame, and that had some, I know it was a low budget, and basically it's just following kind of the POV of one character, but their performance is really good, and also they have some other kind of really amazing collaborators on the project. I don't know if any of you have heard of Holly Blakey, who's an incredible choreographer, but she helped to kind of choreograph. He's sort of going through personal turmoil, and then he kind of goes into some dance moves as well. And so I think if you can have some really simple ideas, but then, you know, collaborate with some key people, then you've kind of got winning combination. But again, I realized that all of my selections, might be a little bit X-rated and probably a lot about drug taking. That's not a key to making a good video whatsoever. So yeah, Young Fathers is, I guess, all about the performance again. But then recently, oh no, maybe it's not too recently, but I mean, I love their music, but Bicep made a video. They've made some kind of higher budget videos in the past, but they made one called Glue, and this is a really kind of simple editing technique, which I think, you know, you don't always have to have a shoot, right, to make a successful video. This kind of concept I think is super interesting. He's talking about his raving days in the 90s, and harking back to kind of memories. So I've just put that link in the chat. You can probably just actually, although you missed the music because the track's really good, but seeing the, or maybe I can do it and I can share my screen, but seeing the just static shots of where he's had raves and memories in the past, and then juxtapose that with text of him sort of describing it over the track. I just think it's like super simple, obviously really easy and cheap to do, but the track is good. Now we have to wrap up, so I'm coming to the end. I've just got two more examples to show you. Really old one, Coldplay, Yellow video. So they've made quite a few videos which also kind of like performance videos on low budget in the early days. Obviously now they're more in the kind of 250 to 500,000 category, and I think that's probably not a good thing. But interesting story with Yellow. So you can, I mean, again, this is all about his performance, right? He's walking along the beach and he's singing to camera. But interestingly, they'd shot, so the label at this point had given them quite a lot of money. They'd shot for 4 days already when they got to this point, and Chris Martin hated everything that they'd shot to date, and so took the DOP that he was working with, and they just went to the beach for a walk and basically shot this walking down the beach. I think it was shots, it's in slightly slow-mo, 30 frames. So Chris Martin did learn the track to sing it slightly differently, but yeah, it's super powerful, and then completely did really well. And this is just all based on his performance.
Thank you so much, Emily. Thank you for sharing with us. You know, it was like Emily Rudge TV just now, everyone.
Sorry, I feel like that went really quickly, didn't it? And I need to follow up with all the links so you can watch them properly, because I had so much more to say, which is also kind of talking about then like the music video is art film. You can go into all of the amazing films that Khalil Joseph has done, in more kind of like art films, which is now in galleries, and short films, and yeah, lots to say.
I mean, maybe actually that can come with a question. Does anyone has got a question? Please be active. Let's remember the spirit of this incubator program. It is all action, everyone. I want to see all of the music incubator people turning up, asking questions about their work and what Emily recommends for their finale moment on the 15th of December. Let's go. Who's gonna ask a question?
I've got one. More out of curiosity. Also, thank you for the talk. Actually, I felt like it was really helpful to see lots of clips of different videos in that way. My question is more just because you mentioned the fact that these really big budget videos, for example, with Coldplay, you didn't think that was necessarily a good thing, and I was wondering why.
I think sometimes, I mean, I guess me personally, I think their music's gone downhill from the beginning, from where they were at the beginning. But I don't necessarily think you need a big budget. I think sometimes there's a lot, there's other examples of when artists have had nothing and it's a really simple idea and it's really raw and authentic, versus loads of gimmicks and post-production, which then takes away from the idea. I'm not saying that like the Dua Lipa videos are pretty impressive, which they definitely are, but it doesn't come around very often. So I think finding some clever ways around the filmmaking of a video is more interesting.
Any other question for Emily?
Yes, I really liked I liked everything you were saying about the you can call in favors and there are bigger possibilities and you need to widen, and like I just was wondering how do you go about that, like because you said in terms of editing and things like that you can call in favors or whatever, but like I feel like if you can edit and you can make, like, you can do all the bulk of the work, like is there a way to pitch yourself to be like, to get these kind of the things you were saying with production companies that would want to help up kind of underground artists or whatever to work with, like just when you just need people, like obviously when you just have yourself or 2 or 3 other people or whatever, and you don't want to ask people without being paid, you want to get people that you want to pay your crew and people that you want to work with, but it's like, how do you go around that if you don't have a budget but you want to have something that involves more people on the day, not in post-production, but
on the day and the crew. Definitely. And I think it's really difficult. It is really difficult. I think that I think finding you as an artist, as a musician, if you can do stuff yourself, if you can edit, and then you could make something like the Bicep Glue video, for instance, because you could find stock imagery, you could go into After Effects, you could do stuff, and that's actually one way of doing it. But then otherwise, I think to have a look around and look on production company websites, and they've got a roster of directors, or have a look at music videos that you like recently and who directed them. And I think then start to, I think Instagram is an incredible way now to kind of connect with people like that. And that's how I suggest to some of my directors who then actually want to make music videos, go on Instagram and just DM the artists that you want to work with, and then you can start the chat and the collaboration. And then I think you can hopefully then bring in the support of a production company. And also I think you'll always find people who are into the idea and into the music to work on a shoot for a music video for free, or for expenses or something like that. There's that's how I got into the industry, by it's a lot of blood, sweat and tears, but the outcome is that you're making a creative project and you're on a team together, right? So from the runner to the art department to anyone who's on it, you form that bond. And that's why I think filmmaking is super special in that respect. And so you will find crew who do want to work on your ideas.
Sounds really good. Aspiration, a good thing to go try to find, when you don't have any
normally find a director, and also really budding producer who's not been burnt out yet by making loads back to back.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Thank you so much, Emily. That was really interesting.
Oh,
I
cool.
just wondered, I've heard, or obviously I've noticed there's been a shift in cultural attention span to like short TikTok style videos and reels, and I just wondered if that affects or has affected the length of the music video or the way music videos are made and received.
I think so, yeah, 100%. I was talking to a friend of mine who was saying who commissions a lot, and she was saying exactly that, right? Like that now everything is kind of moving to shorter style TikTok type things, which are, I guess, easier to make because they're shorter, but then there's always a merit in having a full length, especially, I mean, I don't know how it would necessarily work. You don't want to cut off your track. I think for me personally, having a sort of authentic idea that is really cheap to do, like that Blaze viral video, that you can have your full length music and it really gives you an impact, you know, and makes the kind of makes you feel something, is my personal favorite. But I do think that what she was saying is that as musicians, you need to sort of think about your whole visual identity, and not maybe put all of the budget that you might have to spend on one video, but then think about it across all mediums. So I think it's super important. And even now, like, we haven't even been able to watch all of the full length ones. So attention spans are dwindling, aren't they?
Thank you.
Hi there, I have a question. I'm sorry I can't show my face because I just got a new laptop and I have no idea how to work the camera.
No worry.
First of all, thank you so much for sharing all of these videos, and thank you to Underground University. I've just kind of stumbled in here by a recommendation of a friend, and I have a general question to this format, and I'm very sorry if I'm wasting anybody's time with this question. I'm really interested in the storytelling aspect, and I was wondering if there's going to be like another lecture anytime soon, if this is going to be like a repeated thing, or if there's any way to go deeper into this topic, especially with going deeper into the storytelling and how to basically visually tell the story of the song. This is kind of my question.
Yeah, I mean, we've had, at this point, we've run a lot of classes. You know, we've been going on since 2017 at the University of the Underground, but we obviously never really did like online classes until, of course, the pandemic hit. And so since we've been putting a lot of our talks online, so I would recommend you, the first place to go would be on our YouTube channel, because you're going to find like a lot of the program are all talking about storytelling and how to tell a story through various mediums, whether it's film, music, politics, economics, like all of the topics that you're going to find. And also just look at the work that the students have been producing, because all of them are, using storytelling at the basis of, telling a story about an institution or a trauma, or, some collective idea of organization, or, and various other topics. If I was you, I would really kind of like go and dive in onto our website, but also the various different programs, because you're gonna, it depends what role you want to achieve, but like it doesn't need to be specifically music. I think it's much more interesting when you start to mix up all of the different disciplines, and you actually learn from economics, you learn from politics, you learn from, and then you put that back into your music industry, because it's completely unexpected, maybe, perhaps, so dive into there. And also there will be more classes. I don't know, Tom, if you're still around, but there is classes at the University of the Underground for visiting participants all the way until for the next 2 months, and you can sign up by just emailing us, and we will just keep you informed of the program.
Great, thanks a lot for the information.
No worries.
I've just put in the chat, I mean, I will follow up with the notes as well, but like I was saying, Khalil Joseph is also one of my favorite directors, and he did a film for Sampha, and that's on Apple. So it's a whole kind of long film that interweaves with music, but obviously it's a 37-minute film, so that's the kind of really good example of longer storytelling, I guess, a narrative put around some music. It's all about the collaboration, I think, also with the artist and the director, because I think sometimes the artist might have an idea on what the album is about. But that might not necessarily be exactly then what's translated in the director's interpretation of what the video ends up being, or they might have different ideas about it, which could be interesting.
Any more question from Emily?
If unless someone else wants to go, because I'm aware that I've asked another question already. I was just curious to know if, I know each music video is different and depending on the artist and budgets and everything, but are there sort of common pitfalls? Because even that people fall into when trying to make a music video, because even when you're speaking of bigger budget things that can detract from the initial really good idea at the core, is that, for example, something that's quite good to have in a music video, to have one sort of clear idea that you build around or upon, or?
Good question. I don't know if there was going to be that there would be like pitfalls that are similar across, you know, that you can kind of say across all of them. I guess pitfalls, not really, right? I think yeah, if you get a bad performance or some bad actors, or and it gets a bit cheesy or not very effective, but I think that, you know, you can tell them in such different ways. You know, you can also do although it is quite, I was going to show another one which is sort of POV style. I don't know if, I'm sure you've probably watched it. It's a very old video, Prodigy Smack My Bitch Up. It's also quite X-rated and rude, but that's all from like the POV of one person, which I think is kind of an interesting technique as well. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's like any particular pitfalls to look out for, apart from,
I mean, it depends what you want to do though, because we had a sequence that was looking into like getting a character under a mask with just his mask coming out. And then actually what was interesting is we were getting mentoring from one of our former students who is a career pornographer called Stoya. And Stoya had been doing a lot of work with, you know, like bondage and other various ways that, you know, your face can be covered. And there is like a whole realm of, you know, safety nets that you have to consider before you do things like that. Like it depends what you intend to do on your music video, because of course, if you're just, you know, shooting, what is his name? The guy from Coldplay going onto a beach, you know, the safety is pretty, like I expect from a tsunami that might just, you know, kind of come and arrive. The kind of the dangerosity of that is quite small. But if you want to do things a bit more, I don't know, like.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess definitely have to get advice if you're doing filmmaking. You know, if you're filming, you really need to kind of do it with a producer who knows what they're doing, and to get proper insurance. And if you're renting kit, you normally have to get a little bit of insurance for that too. So yeah, health and safety is key. I was going to mention it's not necessarily, it's more kind of an art music video, but you know, Tom and I were talking about it, which I produced early on in my career, and we produced it for less than £8,000 and shot for 3 days on 35mm film in 3 different locations with about 50 cast. And you can watch it later. I just put it into the chat. It's called Rebirth is Necessary, and it's by a director called Jen Nakuru, who I kind of developed at Iconoclast when she had only done a couple of films. But we did have a situation where I had taken a crew and cast of about 50 people on a coach to Campus Anns onto the beach, and she was determined to have a coffin. A group of dancers carry a white coffin on the beach, and we had to carry it up this huge mound to even get it onto the beach. And then she also wanted to do the Spike Jones, there's a typical Spike Lee shot on a track, which basically you lay a track down and you kind of do a sort of reverse, so it gives this really cool effect. So she got, if anyone knows Bradford Young, who is an amazing cinematographer and also director, his kid was in the film, and there's a shot where the kid was put onto a track on the beach, and the tide was coming in because no one actually had checked the tides. So we thought we were fine, and then suddenly the tide on this beach when we've got this metal track on the water is coming in at speed with this little kid on there, and then suddenly there's the heavens open and it's a storm and lightning starts. And so yeah, at that point I was, as the producer of the film, was petrified that there was going to be some kind of lightning storm and injury to any of the crew or the little child that was on the track. So yeah, there's me going, stop filming, hurry up. And obviously the director and the DOP go, oh, we just one more shot, it's fine, just one more shot. And you're, oh my gosh, if someone gets injured, it's scary. So yeah, filmmaking is definitely, you need to be sensible.
So we're gonna close here this this talk, but like Olivia, sorry, I don't know why I'm mentioning Olivia. Maybe Olivia, you had a question. I don't know. Like I saw you mentioning something. No, it was just a comment. Thank you for the talk, Emily. Yeah. If you have time, I would love to hear general thought on the music video format. I mean, yeah, maybe that can be the closing line, Emily. Like, do you have any like summary point that you want to make about, music video? Are you going to come up with a statement like music video is dead or something like that?
No, I don't think it's dead. I think it's very much alive. I think it's evolving, right? And I think there's a huge amount of different ways that we can think of the music video now. Yeah, in terms of, like you were saying before, shorter form, TikTok, now kind of Spotify, it even has kind of GIFs and small amounts of content. So yeah, it's all about content in different ways and interesting, original ways. And it's hard to be original right now when kind of everything seems an iteration of what's gone on before. So I think it is more of a challenge, but an exciting one.
And finally, Emily, what does it take to actually have you as an executive producer on someone's music video? Because here you have like a lot of incredible talents that are going to put all of their soul and hard work for the next 2 months. They will be working night and days on the production of their genius. What does it take to get Emily Rudge to be the executive producer on a music video?
You don't need me to be an executive producer on a music video. You just need a good team. I think what I'm doing in my production company at the moment is selecting talented directors, and through that then make collaborations to make great videos. Yeah, for sure.
So everyone can go on your website and find your email and just make sure that they share with you some of their music so you can think about them for the
that'd be great. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because they all have unique sound and so forth, and I'm sure some of your directors are desperate for good content.
100%. I know a lot of directors. Yeah, exactly.
Here you go.
Collaborate.
You want to drop your email as well in the chat, or is that?
Yeah, definitely.
Ask, Emily.
No. But like I said, we're launching our new company, so we don't really have a website at the moment, but it's coming.
There you go. So you have Emily email there. This is.
Or if you guys have got any other questions exactly and things, I can.
Thank you so much, Emily, for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you with all of us, and everyone. We see you all tomorrow for tutorials. Thank you so much for all the visiting and for joining us.
Have a good evening.
I'm gonna stop the recording. Yeah.